I want to tip my cap to you. You said, I think 2 weeks ago, that Bill Belichick, we would not like Jordan Hudson would be moved out of the equation. And it seems like, I know from my own story in recovery, like you really got to bottom out if you're going to make a change. Mm-hmm. And that CBS Sunday morning interview was I hope, a rock bottom. And it seems like there's going to be some changes made. What do you know about that? What are your thoughts about that and all your experience rooting for, paying attention to, covering Bill Belichick?
It's first off, it's just really odd. And we did some segments about it on the Cam show last week, and all the comments were, "Why is this weird? This isn't illegal." I'm like, I'm fully aware that it's not illegal. But it is really freaking weird, man. I mean, how can we deny that? And yeah, personally, like Bill Belichick is legitimately one of my heroes. Like I live my life in a way that he coached a football team for 20 years, So, and this is so off the deep end, bizarro. And I said I said to you, like, it has to end because this is the only football Bill we know is the complete opposite of this, right? The complete elimination of distractions. Like, I just don't know I think Belichick can be like this as a celebrity. I don't think Belichick can be like this as a football coach. And the fact that we got those leaks from North Carolina last week of like, hey, we're really concerned about this. UNC is really concerned about Jordan Hudson. Like, we know from being in workplaces, that means that's a big time discussion within the walls. If that's already leaking out, like after that interview, that's not BS, right? Like that is legitimate concern from North Carolina of like, maybe we bit off more than we can chew here. This might be a monster that we don't want to deal with. Just this whole thing.
By the way, you and I talked about this a lot this summer, but it's like it's very clear that this is the reason why NFL teams didn't hire him. That's my thought on it.
Yeah.
That is my because it's always like, what is the deal? What is the deal? You were trying to figure out what the red herring was. Why is this that he's not getting hired by NFL teams? And I think right now we've been hit over the head with the reason why NFL teams didn't hire him.
I mean, no doubt, man. And like, she's literally going to storm out and end an interview for CBS Sunday morning. Like it's crazy. And by the way, like, this being in kind of the journalism field, right, for a long time, it's like, yeah, in a normal situation, that's a weird question to ask somebody and pester them about. How did they meet? But when you're a public figure of this stature and you're 50 years older than your girlfriend and nobody knows how you met, and by the way, the girlfriend is making everything public, right? The t-shirts and the Pilates on the beach and miking them up for every practice. That is not a totally unreasonable question to ask in an interview.
And by the way, this is not a 24-year-old girl dumping a drink on her boyfriend's head, storming out of the fours, being like, "I'll be at the car." God, this is like way bigger. Man. I mean, like, we've all had like kind of nutty girlfriends. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I'm curious as to like, do you think, and I know you got to go because you got a show, but one more question. Do you think in your experience in relationships and the way Bill Belichick, like, you got to feel, right? Like at all in his head, because when you're in a bad relationship and your boys are like, dude, you got to get out. Yeah. But in your head, you're like trying to like make sense of it.
Yeah, and you're making any excuse you can.
Yeah, I wonder if that spring practice, like when she's dressed up like that, he's in his head like, oh boy, like this is like I'm feeling pretty uncomfortable here. Let me just see if I can like.
Yeah, you're almost like frozen in time for a second. You're like,
yeah, and then like inside, like, because before any major decision is made, like a breakup or a big change, like it seems like he's doing, there is something in your head that's like, oh man, this is bad. It's like they said, like when you're an alcoholic, you're the last to know. Like, same with him. Like, he was probably the last to know on this, right?
Yeah. I think of it like as a situation where either way you go, like either decision you make, you're just dealing with something you don't want to deal with, in the sense that, like, I don't think he wants to continue on with this media thing that they've got going. Like, yeah. I think he's bugged by it a lot. But I think also in his head, he's like, man, I was fired last year from being the best coach in history. I mean, he won't admit it, but it was a firing. I've kind of crawled back to college, sold on this dream that she sold him on, I'm sure. And now it's like, if I break up with her, I'm only going to have to answer those questions all the time. And it's going to be tough internally, right? Of like, now I'm here at North Carolina on this dream sold to me by this person I found out was a whack job and is ruining my reputation. And now I got to deal with that too. Or the alternative is continuing to have my reputation ruined. Like it's a rock and a hard place here for old Billy B. But it is really odd. I thought of all these guys, Brady, Belichick, Kraft, that Brady was going to have the weirdest post-retirement. It's just writing on the wall, right? Like the TB12 stuff and the water that cures concussions and stuff like that. Like, in the Botox, it was always going to be weird. But I think Belichick has comfortably surpassed both of them in both weird post-dynasty.
Hold my beer moment.
Oh my God. Like, I cannot believe that we're at this spot when I kind of take a 10,000 foot view of it.